Hello and welcome to the Amateur Austenite. My name is Frances Duncan. I am an author and the founder of the Jane Austen Society of New Zealand. My very special guest today is my sister Paula.
Kia ora.
Today we are going to be reading we've just read chapter 54 of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. In chapter 54, Mr. Bingley and Mr. Darcy come for dinner at Longbourn.
Which sounds really boring, doesn't it, when you just say that?
They come for dinner. Well, it's a party, so it's more than just dinner. They have cards afterwards, and coffee and tea.
Yes, and other people are there.
Yes. We don't find out who the other people are, but we know in the previous chapter that Mrs. Bennet was talking about the Goldings coming to visit, I believe.
I can't remember, but she does say somebody comes whose daughters aren't very pretty, which makes her happy.
She's so terrible.
She is.
I know she's talking about Mrs. Long's nieces. I think Mrs. Long is as good a creature as ever lived, and her nieces are very pretty behaved girls and not at all handsome. I like them prodigiously.
I think this is one of those chapters that would be a beautiful scene to watch, with all the glances and the looks without any dialogue, because so much is said by the way that they would have been looking at each other and continually glancing over, which Jane Austen says, but seeing it would add so much more.
Because there's a whole bit where Lizzy and Darcy are sitting on opposite sides of the room, and she's like, well, I hope he's doing his Bailey's cards at me because I can't stop looking at him. And then there's the beautiful bit where Bingley goes to sit by Jane, and he placed himself by her because she turned round and happened to smile. But then he looks slightly alarmed and turns to look at Darcy to check that he's got permission to do so.
Very funny. It reminds me of the latest version of Emma, the Autumn to Wild one, the 2020 version that I am teaching, because there are a number of instances in the film where what Jane Austen has written is played out non-verbally in the film. And just the looks between people, and even Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Emma, her acting is superb. You see, for example, when she realises what she said to Miss Bates at the picnic, the Box Hill picnic, when she realises she's insulted her, her face just drops, and you can see her register just how rude she's been without meaning to. And, obviously at the ball between Mr. Knightley and Emma, the sexual tension is so beautiful. It's just really well played.
I hate the Box Hill picnic. It's one of the most uncomfortable scenes in literature. I usually skip it, whether I'm reading or watching it, because it's so painful.
And that's what Autumn to Wild said as well. If you aren't upset by the Box Hill picnic, the whole film has fallen apart. It hasn't worked, because she builds up Emma being mean to Miss Bates in very subtle ways throughout the whole film, and she builds up Emma's relationship with Mr. Knightley throughout the whole film, and then brings in, of course, Mr. Churchill and how he's quietly whispering in Emma's ear and playing up to her, for then this crescendo of Emma saying this awful thing to Miss Bates. And if that doesn't work, then the film doesn't work. It's beautiful, and that's what I keep thinking of with this chapter as well. I can just imagine, as you say, Elizabeth playing cards and sneaking a look at Mr. Darcy across the room.
She did that in his last visit as well. She was supposed to be paying attention to her work, but she kept sneaking glances at him.
And I imagine that he would be understanding what's happening. But I felt a little bit sorry for him at the very beginning of the chapter when she's berating him. He's not there, obviously.
Why, if he came only to be silent, grave and indifferent, did he come at all?
But he was in front of her family. What was he going to do? How could she expect him to actually say anything?
She's been waiting for him to turn up.
I know.
Oh no, she probably didn't expect that he would actually turn up, but now he's here and she's so excited to see him, and he's grave and silent.
But that's him, right? He's not going against character. She's now learnt that that is who he is, that he is a lovely man, but he still is quiet and large groups of society.
This is true.
And, you know, that's who he is. And she does get grumpy with him, but I just feel a bit sorry for him, even though he doesn't know. Because that's who he is. And, I mean, imagine him sitting himself down next to her and trying to chat to her, what Mrs. Bennet would do.
Yes, Mrs. Bennet would have apoplexy.
What were those 2 words that you read that you liked?
Ceremonious salutation. So when he arrives, she gives him a mere ceremonious salutation, attending his entrance.
Yeah, that's lovely.
It's the only chance she gets to say, hi, it's nice to see you. And then she struggles to get a chance to talk to him later. And one of the girls, and it doesn't say who the girl is, sits next to her and says, the men shan't come and part us, I am determined.
Yeah, so a young lady who isn't worried about being married.
And again, they can't talk frankly, so Lizzie can't be like, but I want to talk to him.
Yeah, that's right.
And she can't just tell her to piss off.
And then when he does come, they don't even have a very good conversation.
Yes, she asks about, is your sister at Pemberley? Is she alone? And that's about it. She can think of nothing more to say. He stood by her for some minutes, and then the lady who had said the men shan't part us whispers in her ear again, and he's like, well, I'm off, and he just walks away.
And I can understand why she couldn't think of anything, you know, in those situations where it's all too much and your brain just goes into overload.
It's full awkward. And they talk about the food in some detail. Mrs. Bennet is talking about Darcy's 2 or 3 French cooks, and she mentions the soup and the venison and the partridge.
It's because she's so excited about how well the evening went, I think. Like, she's talking about all the food that she...
Well, because she would have organised this, of course.
That's right. She's organised all this food and put it on, and this is the pinnacle of her life, really. You know, getting young men into her house, and it looks like her daughter's going to marry one of them. Woohoo!
After half an hour's politeness, she expected him to come and propose.
Yeah. And that's why she's so happy about those nieces who are not pretty, because that's all they had in those days, you know, a pretty face and able to make some polite conversation. Yep, I'll marry you, thanks.
And that's all they wanted too. There's the whole thing that they don't want women to be too well educated.
Yes. Let's not even get into the patriarchy, shall we? Goodness gracious.
And Jane says Bingley is blessed with a greater sweetness of dress and a stronger desire of generally pleasing than any other man. She's like, he doesn't really like me. He's just nice to everyone.
And that's how she's keeping herself safe, right?
Yeah.
Which is gorgeous.
It's quite funny. She uses the word confidant right at the end of the chapter. No, Lizzie does. Forgive me if you persist in indifference. Do not make me your confidant. And there's something right at the end of another chapter not long ago where Lizzie was thinking about needing a confidant.
Yeah, I thought her choice of word there was quite ironic, really, because she and Jane do have a close relationship, yet Elizabeth still holds cards close to her chest.
She really does.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's trying to keep herself from feeling too much or trying to not upset Jane, or whether there's another reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Because not telling Jane about Darcy isn't going to hurt Jane, so why doesn't she tell her?
Did her aunt say not to tell anyone?
Yes, but you assume that wouldn't include Jane. No, did her aunt say not to tell anyone? I'm not sure she did.
I know Darcy doesn't want people to know.
But
Maybe.
She also doesn't tell Jane about her change in feelings towards Darcy. Why keep that secret?
Because it's embarrassing.
She barely admits it to herself.
And it's a real surprise for everyone.
When it all comes out, which it shortly will.
We're nearly at the end.
We're not really, because these 61 chapters are only at 54. Seems like there's a lot of chapters to go with not much to happen.
Oh, but there's a lot to happen.
Is there?
Oh, yes. The high point of the novel is still to come.
The engagement. I always felt that it felt slightly awkward after the engagement happened. That they should have just gone, yep, and we're done. End.
Yeah. But but that's perhaps because we're used to Disney or fairy tales where they got married and lived happily ever after.
The end.
Really sweet chapter full of sexual tension.
And that is our summary of chapter 54 of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. My name is Frances Duncan. You can find me at francesduncanwrites.com and on Twitter at frances_duncan. Thank you for listening. We wish you happy reading.
Hurrah!